is it all just about cost reduction? It's all about price reduction, shall we say?
I think if one would take a non-creative approach, it would be exactly that. But the reality is that materials can really make a lot of difference. Innovation in materials is going to be one of the key things to achieve in the solar industry, to keep reducing that cost per kilowatt hour. And that's a change from the past. I mean, this industry has focused a lot on cost per watt peak. I think now we are looking much more, everybody, at cost per kilowatt hour. And that means that the innovation really has to span the entire value chain. And materials can really help doing that. Innovations that are made at the cell level have to actually be translated into the module level. You have to keep the benefit. Then panels have to be mounted in a more sophisticated and better and cheaper way. And materials can really play a critical role in that. So Dow Corning has an innovation portfolio which spans the entire value chain, where we're trying to think about material solutions that are needed, now and in the future. At the feedstock level, at the cell level, at the module level, at the installation level, etc.
I mean, one of the challenges, though, is that, yes, innovation is a key thing, and we've seen, incremental developments in that way, but are we really seeing the pace of that? Are we really, jumping ahead of that cost curve by bringing in faster innovation?
I think historically the PV industry has not done that very well. Historically, costs have actually come mostly down because of scale. And I think the big amount of turmoil and the pain that we see in the industry today is really going to be the catalyst to bring that innovation. Innovation in materials it's not only about cost, it's about efficiency, it's about durability especially. At the end of the day, the name of the game here is to increase the amount of kilowatt hours produced over the lifetime of a panel at the lowest possible cost, and that is really going to get that cost per kilowatt hour down.
So is part of the problem in sort of again, moving faster in adoption of innovation? Is it just the testing of it to assure that it's got the quality control, or are we looking at the lack of standards that means everything the wheel has to be redone time and time again? I mean, where's the elements here?
I mean, quality is obviously very important. Innovation does take time. I think we have to learn to be a little bit patient. I think clearly a catalyst to go faster is collaboration. And that's the model that we really believe in, is to collaborate with our customers, with equipment suppliers, with many different players. I mean, I can give an example of a project that we're working on. As a company, we're spending a lot of time on encapsulation and bringing a better solution to the market with silicone encapsulants. And if you think about the benefits of encapsulation, they're actually a lot about additional kilowatt hours because the durability of a panel increases and the efficiency as well. But for that to come true, many different pieces of the puzzle have to fit together. Not only the material has to be good, but there has to be an adequate equipment to bring that material into a panel. Of course, it has to be tested before you bring it onto the market so that the quality is absolutely undisputable. And of course, then it has to be installed in solar parks, which again, is going to take some time because now you need to prove it out in real life, get the bankability right, etc. So that whole cycle does take a couple of years. But what I see in the industry, which is making me feel pretty comfortable that the roadmap is going to be continued in terms of cost reduction, is that many of those innovation efforts have really started a couple of years ago, and now quite a few things are ready to hit the market.
Well, you mentioned a point there, sort of cost reduction roadmaps, but the industry seems to struggle with a technology roadmap. Is that another aspect that's maybe slowing down the adoption of innovative products?
I mean, I fully agree with that. If you see that, as I mentioned before, the challenge is to reduce the cost across the entire value chain. So the challenge is exactly to align those roadmaps between cell technology, module technology, etc. And this industry has essentially sub-optimized different parts of the value chain historically. And my belief is that we are at the turning point where that is going to change, and where there is going to be much more innovation happening through basically a coalition of partners in this industry.
This is obviously a very important show for a materials provider. Coming to China, we know a significant amount of real-world manufacturing is done here. What kind of takeaway do you have of an event like this? What are people really consistently asking you to do?
I think it's actually in line with what I've been saying. I see really that trend change where innovation from our perspective is becoming very much a pull from customers and not only a push from our side. And I think many of the larger companies that are planning for a good future for themselves, that they realize how important that innovation is and how important it is to bring some of that new technology to the market. Of course, the other take from this show is that the Chinese market is going to be important. I mean, you see the Chinese market is not only going to continue to grow as from a module manufacturing perspective, but also the domestic deployment of solar is clearly there now. Maybe 2.5 gigawatts or something last year and growing from there. And that's of course an overall trend in this industry that we're going to see more and more deployment moving from mature economies into emerging economies where there are good sunlight conditions.